Welcome back. This is part 2 of the KC Hilites conversion series that we're doing on the Jeep, basically putting all KC products on this thing. In the last video, we installed the Pro 6 LED light bar, and that thing, it's just monstrous, man. I put it on the Jeep and it just changed the whole look of it immediately. Not to mention that that light bar cranks out a ton of light. But in this video, part 2, we're installing the one product that I have been so super excited about. The KC Hilites SlimLite 8. This is the newest product that KC Hilites offers. In fact, it's so new, I believe it just came out this month, and there's not a lot of people that have them yet. So I have the great honor of being able to install them on my Jeep and give you guys my first-hand take on how I feel they're performing. Now, if you know me and you know this channel, then you know that I am a huge fan of like really big off-road lights on the front bumper. I just really love that look. In fact, that's what I was running with the Lightforce HTX2s, which come in at about 9 inches. Prior to the release of this, KC Hilites didn't really have any huge like off-road lights in the front. I believe the biggest they had were the Pro 6s, which are 6 inches. But now they have these, which are 8 inches and really just fits the bill of the look that I want. Now 8 inches, it's about an inch smaller than my Lightforce HTX2s, but it's very comparable. Besides, I'm running the ARB stubby bumper. It's not a full-length bumper, and having something that's slightly smaller than what I had before might end up looking a little bit more proportional. Now, I have been super excited to show this to you because, I mean, they look so good. If you've been following KC on Instagram, then you have probably already seen all the promo and stuff that they've been doing on this light. But take a look at this. I mean, it's just so nice. The design of it, the quality of it, super slim. On the back, you get a nice little KC logo detail there, and then you also have basically 2 mounting positions here. So that's gonna definitely help keep it nice and secure. And then you also have your regular mounting here at the bottom. This goes into basically any hole on your bumper. And the fact that it's thin is super helpful for me because I have a winch back there, and you want as much clearance as you can for the wiring harness to go through, which was a struggle, to be honest, with the Lightforce that I had before. It was kind of pressed up against the winch, and I had to kind of move it to a different hole in order for it to have clearance. Well, this one is much thinner, so I'm definitely not going to have that problem with this. Now, when you buy the light, you're going to get the standard black cover that has the KC Hilites logo. They do have other options on their website as well. There's the clear, there's also yellow, and then there's also ambers. From my understanding, the amber ones are a lot more effective, so that's probably what I'm gonna go with. Get some amber covers on here. If I have the amber covers on these, then that's already gonna also act basically as a shield against rocks and debris. I don't really want to run black covers on my off-road lights anymore because when I want to use them, I don't want to have to stop the vehicle and take the cover off. But if you take a look inside, I mean, that is a gorgeous light. I mean, it's just the way like the patterns of it is, and the way that it's just going to throw out light specifically in a pattern that's going to be very pleasing. Because if you notice, it's thinner here and wider here, so you're going to get this spot pattern coming down the middle, but then you're going to get some really nice lighting coming out of the sides as well. So you're going to get a lot of great coverage with this. Now, when you buy the light, this is all you're going to get: the light and the cover. Like, that's it. You can bundle it so you can get like a pair plus the wiring harness, because you are going to need a wiring harness. Even if you're running a switch pod like we are, you need the wiring harness because you need the end that plugs into the actual light itself. But if you're running a switch pod, you're probably gonna have to cut all this up because you're not gonna need the relay or the switches or the fuses. You're just gonna need basically the plug that goes to the back of this unit. I'm not sure if KC has like a switch pod ready harness so that you don't have to get all the other excess, but if they do, then you could get that. If you're not running a switch pod, then you're gonna want the entire wiring harness because you're gonna need everything that's in here. You know, when I was talking to KC, they said that they could have released a SlimLite like a year ago, but they wanted to take their time, make sure that it was up to their specifications, that it was up to their standards, and that everything was perfected. And I'm glad when companies do that. You know, there's so many other companies, they just want to rush to be the first one to market with their product, and then the product is crap. Like, I would rather you wait and make sure that it was like the best product you could put out there and then put it out, because if it's a great product, doesn't matter when you release it, people are going to want it. So first up, weight. This weighs in at 5.7 pounds each, so combined you're getting about 11.4 pounds. Width is 8 inches, as we've mentioned. Height is 8.46. That includes the stand that's at the bottom. And then the depth is 3.67 inches. So very thin. I mean, that's like not even 4 inches. So you're gonna get a really, really slim profile with this. The material is an aluminum alloy with a black finish. You can mount it basically on the A-pillar, ditch lights, windshield, bumper, overhead, on your roof, wherever you wanna put this, it can mount there. This has an IP66 rating, but it also has something called moisture block. Basically this little thing back here. You know, when you are running these lights on a bumper, right? You're gonna go through water crossings. This thing is going to get submerged, just like my past lights before. And you don't want any of that moisture, any water, you don't want any ingress coming through this little port in the back. So they put a new technology out there called moisture blocker. It's actually patented, if I'm not, or registered, if I'm not mistaken, that will keep all that moisture and water and debris and dust out. This does have a spot beam pattern and a beam distance of 787.4 meters. Light color is white, lens color is clear, unless you put one of their covers on. Light temperature, 5,000 kelvins. We've talked about this already. 5,000 to 5,500 kelvins to me is like a sweet spot when it comes to light. Not ultra white, bright light, but also not like incandescent yellow. Now this has 12,384 lumens. That's a lot of light. But what's even more important than the lumens is your lux. And this comes in at 6,200 lux. Basically, if lumens is how powerful the light is, then the lux is how effective that power is and how it's being used. And when you have the right kind of lens, you have the right kind of housing, you're gonna get better lux. This uses up about 138 watts of power each. Voltage is 10.5 volts to 36 volts, and the amp draw is 11.5 amps. Now we can talk about specs all day, but there are tons of videos already covering this light. I just want to get them on and see how well they perform. So install is going to be super simple with the switch pod. First thing I did was route the wires accordingly so that each connector is already in position to plug into the unit. The harness is already set up to go into a pair of lights, so there's no need to connect the wires together. Then I just plugged them in, mounted the lights to the bumper and made sure they're secure and don't have any right to left movement, then adjusted the tilt and tightened it. I know later I'll be doing further adjustments to make sure I get the most optimum distance and coverage. Then, similar to last time, I cut the wires off the harness just before the relay and discarded the rest. All that's left is one positive and one negative wire that are coming out of the lights. I then attached ring terminals to the ends of those wires, routed it to my switch pod from underneath and up into the engine bay, screwed them into the proper switch pod terminals, and then tested it to make sure it all works. I don't even have the words. I don't know how much of it comes through on camera, but those, man, the SlimLite 8s. Like just the way the light is distributed, like it's just so even. There are no sharp cutoffs at each end, which can be distracting when you see it kind of in the corner of your eye. It spreads it out so nicely, and a lot of that has to do with the design of the light itself. Like it's thinner in the middle, wider at the ends, and it just gives you the kind of coverage that is pretty much unparalleled. I'm glad they came out with the 8s, because prior to this, the one they had were the 6s, and just having the 8 and having just that much more power and a lot better lux, it looks so good. But with this light just being 8 inches versus the 9 inches that I had before, inappropriate innuendo alert. I mean, I think it's more proportionate to the stubby bumper that I have. It just fits nicely where it doesn't look like it's like just overwhelmingly large compared to the smaller bumper that I'm running. I am waiting on some amber covers. I want to see if I like that setup, if it's more pleasing to the eye to run my driving lights in amber versus white, which is what I've always ran on this vehicle with my older setup. Good thing is, if I don't like them, they're just covers. You can take them on and off as you see fit. But again, not going to take too much time in this video because we still got some more lights to install. Next up is going to be the Gravity Pro 7 headlights, which I am amped about because of my headlight woes that I've had on this vehicle since I got it. So I cannot wait to see how well those perform. However, if you like this video though, please make sure you don't smash, reduce the size of that like button and see if it's a little bit more proportional. Subscribe to our channel, click that notification bell so we can let you be aware of new videos when they come out. And if it moves you, support us on Patreon. It gives you access to all of our videos before everyone else and gives you access to all of our live streams when we do them. And as always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Baptism Overland. My name is Asia Sampson, and we'll see you in part 3.